and gentlemen.
Good evening.
I'd like to welcome you to the April meeting of the Orangeburg Consolidated School District Number 5 Board of Trustees. We thank those of you who have come out to either participate or to enjoy our board meeting. We will start our meeting with a moment of silence by Trustee Mr. Samuel Farlow. Mr. Farlow.
Let's all stand please for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Farlow. Approval of agenda.
Mr. Chair, at this time I'd like to ask that we move presentation by Orangeburg Consolidated School District 5 Educational Foundation to the next item on the agenda immediately after the approval of this agenda, and I would like to ask that we approve the agenda with that amendment, please.
Second.
Moving properly second that we amend the agenda to allow number 7, presentation by Orangeburg Consolidated School District 5 Education Foundation, to follow approval of agenda. All in favor of such motion by raising the right hand. All opposed? All in favor have it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we now will have a presentation by our Education Foundation.
Good evening, Superintendent Washington and distinguished board members. I'm John Singh, the president of the Orangeburg District 5 School Foundation, and we're very pleased to come before you tonight for something that we feel is very important, and that is supporting the Clark Middle School Band, who's going to Carnegie Hall. If I can have the band director come up and we're very pleased to present you. We're very excited for you all to have this opportunity to go to New York, and we're very proud of you. And on behalf of the foundation, we would like to present a check for $5,000.
Come back here and tell you.
We just want to say thank you, most importantly, for supporting our students. They are really working hard. I'm extremely proud of them, and we're looking forward to going to New York and representing the school as well as the community to the best of our ability. Thank you.
We thank y'all so very much for your generous contributions to our music program at Clark Middle School. We are sure that our kids will appreciate and enjoy that as they travel to New York. Thanks again on behalf of the board. There is a need for executive session, and in that session there'll be discussions of contractual matters. Could I hear a motion to that effect, please?
Mr. Chair, I move that we go into executive session to discuss contractual matters.
Second.
Moving properly second that we go into executive session for discussion of contractual matters. All in favor by raising of your right hand. All opposed? Right hand. Yes. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we return to open session, or regular session.
Second.
Moving properly second that we resume to open session. All in favor, please, by raising the right hand. All opposed? It is approved. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Executive session, Ms. Lee.
Mr. Chair, in executive session, we had information concerning the new county board, and I would like to make a motion that the Orangeburg Consolidated School District 5 Board of Trustees direct the superintendent to fund the operational budget of the Orangeburg County School District $150,600 as presented in the budget prepared by the interim superintendent and approved by the Orangeburg County Board Chair.
Second.
Moving properly second that we, the Orangeburg Consolidated School District 5 Board of Trustees, direct the superintendent to fund the operational budget of the Orangeburg County School District, presenting the budget prepared by the interim superintendent and approved by the county, Orangeburg County Board Chair in the amount of $150,600. All in favor, raising your right hand. All opposed? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, it is firm. Approval of the minutes from our March 12, 2019 regular board meeting.
Mr. Chair, at this time, I'd like to ask that we approve the minutes from our meeting held on Tuesday, March 12th, 2019.
Second.
Moving properly second that we have the minutes of our Tuesday, March 12, 2019 regular board meeting be approved. All in favor of such motion, let me see by raising of your right hand. Same sign, opposed. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Superintendent update, Dr. Jesse Washington.
Good evening, board chair, members. For my update tonight, I've asked Mr. Rivers, Bobby Rivers, over security to please come up and to give the board an update on the security measures that we've put in place or taken thus far.
Board member, Superintendent Dr. Washington, I say good evening.
Good evening.
As you can see on the agenda, it say Bobby Rivers and Eric Ham. As you can see, Mr. Ham is not here. He had to take care of family situation. Also have support, which is our emergency response team. Have some of the guys in the back. They come to always support as when we get this update security, it's not just about it's a team, it's we. So they're here also to ask some comments. On our last board meeting, the board that you wanted an update on where we are with our camera system and also our emergency notification. A quick update on our camera situation. We are in the process of fixing some of our cameras that are out in our school. Hopefully within the next week or two, hopefully this will be taken care of, along with IT, that Mr. Johnson was here also to replace Mr. Ham. We are working on that, on our camera system. As most of you know, we don't have cameras in our elementary school. So, and the reason we don't have cameras in our elementary school right now is because we haven't been provided to the proceed with cameras in our elementary school. So hopefully we're hoping that within the next school year, before we adjourn for Consolidated 5, that we will be provided with some funds to help allocate towards our elementary school. An update on
Ms. Rivers, any comments from?
I'm sorry, any comments on that before we move on?
I have a question, Mr. Chairman. Yes, sir. Mr. Rivers, you said there are some cameras need to be repaired at this time?
Yes, sir.
You know, what school, you identify what school would the camera need to be repaired and how many?
Majority of all our schools. How many, I don't exactly have that number on how many at each school, but I will get that to you.
Okay, thank you.
I will email you that information.
Thank you.
How many cameras are at each school.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Rivers, and considering the data that we looked at, I think at our last meeting or the meeting before, where our middle and elementary school students were suspended just as much as our high school students. So I think it would be a good idea that we maybe move on getting cameras into the school. And there seem to be some things that are brewing that maybe we're not familiar with right now. I wouldn't know, I have an idea what the cost is, but I think that's something that we need to consider. Any other comments from board members on?
Well, you know, I think you're spot on with that, because considering the issues that happen, and a lot of places around the country, you know, elementary schools cannot be eliminated. So we need to move forward, at least looking at that, so we know what the cost is going to be.
So Dr. Washington, you need that answer, sir?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Proceed,
Thank you,
sir.
Proceeding on, I hand out a agenda to you in reference to some update on our notification, emergency notification plan. Our front row update. Our front row emergency alert system being installed with money received through a Stop School Violent grant in partnership with the Department of Justice. Installation has begun at Marshall Elementary School, Howard Elementary, Howard Middle, Clark Middle, and would include OW, North Middle, High, and Bethune-Bowman. As you can see at Marshall, there could be 60 rooms, Howard 50, Clark Middle 70, OW High 112, North Middle High 35, and Bethune-Bowman Complex 80. This system will provide a panic button for each room, a two-way intercom between the classroom and front office, an emergency alert with mass notifications to classroom smart board. A little about this organization is, along with our response team, this is something we've been working on for the past year in reference to trying to help us out with our intruder drill at the school. What this system will be, it will be a system that will be in this classroom, and if there's a problem in the classroom with an intruder or unwanted individual, this panic button, all they have to do is match this panic button, and it will alert up front in reference to we have a problem in that classroom. It will light up the whole from the smart board along with a sound system. And that will be installed in every room that the principal designated for this system to go in.
So am I hearing right that if a panic button is pushed, every room in that school that have a smart board will light up?
Yes.
Correct.
Say that again?
When they first see the panic button in the classroom, the panic button actually notifies the front office. The front office has the ability to push that notification out to the classroom. So there's actually a display that comes up on the board.
And I just had a question. What if the smart board is not being used? Or do we actually turn them off? Would they have to be on for this notification to work? How does that work?
No, it uses something called IR, like with your TV. When you can set the timer for it to come on and off. So the projectors and the smart boards are set the same way. So it sends a signal, if you will, to the board, and it'll automatically come on.
Oh, thank you.
I had a little problem with the panic button being pushed because one classroom pushed the panic button, and notify everybody in the school. That causes panic in itself. I mean, that doesn't quiet things down. I think it needs to be individually known where it is, rather than one classroom, something happened, then everybody in the school knows about it, and then you got chaos to me.
That is correct. The panic button notifies the front office.
Okay.
The front office can notify all the classrooms, I'm sorry. So you are correct. The panic button in the classroom just notifies the front office that there's an issue. The front office has the ability to notify every classroom.
Notify, not notify.
They make the decision.
Yeah, to make the decision to notify each, yes.
That being said, what would be the distinction? How would the front office know that the whole school did not need to be notified? Would there be something, a list of like you push a panic button because a child is out of control or what? I mean, how would they know not to tell the whole school?
Well, part of that system, Mr. Rivers mentioned the intercom, so it allows that two-way communication. So you don't have to go to a telephone and call the front office.
Right.
When you hit that panic button, you can talk directly to the front office.
I was talking a little earlier this week about classrooms, and we said that all the classrooms are locked at all times.
Yes, sir.
So if they're locked at all times, then when the panic button hits, we know where that particular room is, and you don't have to worry about entrance from other areas. Okay.
Yes, sir. Correct.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Rivers.
Yes, sir.
In reference to the grant, how much is that grant? How much was the grant? Is it enough to?
It was a government grant. Mr. Bill?
Yeah, it was a Department of Justice grant. It was, we got a 3-to-1 match on our money. The total project was about $650,000, of which we were only required to participate 25%.
Which was a total of about $160,000.
Just for information, that was part of Mr. Clark's presentation on last month. our success in being able to land that grant. Ms. Rivers, you mentioned intruder drill. I was reading back a couple weeks ago where the intruder drill was so aggressive that it set chaos throughout the schools, and some children were actually hurt when they thought it was a real thing. And so is our drill that aggressive?
What it's supposed to be, I had to meet with the principal when they're scheduling this. This is supposed to say on the intercom, this is a practice drill, so that everybody would know. But if it's actually the real thing, it will say, hey, intrude in the building, lights out of sight. But if they're practicing, the principal, whoever she designates, should say this is a practice drill, intruder drill. But we asked them to take it seriously as if it was a real drill. No, we're like that. We'll come in the front office and we'll get the reception. Hey, look, this is intruder drill. Show us what y'all do. That's how we approach ours. They'll say, that's it for me, unless my team have anything they'd like to respond on.
Yes, could you comment, Mr. Rivers, on the security task force and the meeting that was held at South Carolina State on last Thursday, Wednesday?
On the 28th of March.
Yes, sir.
As most of you know, as I stated the last time, District 5, we coordinate a special response team, task force team, which consists of local law enforcement agency. On our last meeting at South Carolina State University, I wanted to get out to the principals and their faculty and staff for what to look for when it's come down to gang. And what we did, we invited a SLADE agent who specializes in gang to come and give us a demonstration and give us some training on what they need to look for as far as in the school concerning our students. And it went very well. And I think our faculty and staff, our principal, I think they learned a lot. They got a lot of it. And Mr. Page was there also. He said he learned something, which is good.
Yes, sir, Mr. Page.
I want to say I learned so much. I ride along now looking for cameras on the wall. Look and see what gang we are operating in this area.
Yeah, he talked about graffiti being on the wall and building and stuff, what we need to look for and what they look like.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
One of the things that we sat in on, and it was one of the general sessions, and I'm sure maybe all of you have seen the advertisements on TV for SHRM, the Human Resource Company, and Mr. Taylor, who is over that company now, was the guest speaker. And one thing that he said that really resonated with me was, he said, we do not need to fix our children. He said, we need to fix our system. And if we don't begin to address that and do something about the way we educate children, of the 50 million plus children that are in public school across the United States, we graduated 3.6 million last May.
Because kids learn differently. And our objective ought to be is to help them to graduate in the area of their interest. And identifying the area of interest and tailor-making a program that's going to work well for them. So even our future teachers are going to have to even teach differently at different levels that helps the students to connect with how they learn in a proper way. But, something for us to look into, we will look into it and see if that's something we can pass on to our county board as a way of thinking of how we may rethink how we teach and how we're going to deliver instruction.
A teacher has got to be able to pick up a child's interest. You do that by having relationships. Whenever you see a child is interested in a particular area, direct him and lead him to that particular area. He or she may change, but if that's what the direction is leading to, be able to direct him and get him in that area and push him and let him go in where he or she desires to be, rather than pushing him into something. You got to go to college and he wants to be a mechanic or engineer or something of that sort.
Mr. Papa, when Mr. Page was talking about creative thinking and leadership skills, that was one particular subject session we attended. We talked about soft skills and the hard skills. They was talking about the importance of reading and writing, that so many of our school districts have gotten away from focus on reading and writing.
Leadership, the people at the top, the board, set the tone for the district. If the leaders don't have a vision, do not work together, do not love people, do not take time with people, and uplift each child, we have failed our children. If you have a dysfunctional board fighting, it doesn't help children. So my takeaway is we have to be a team from the top all the way down with a vision for our children. That we have to get out to the community has to be positive. We hear so many negative things about our public schools. Our schools are doing great. We are getting beat in the community because we're not getting our message out. So we got to do a better job getting our message out about the accomplishment of our students. And you don't want to use the term "no child left behind," but we cannot leave any child. We have to find out where their interest is and encourage them to be the best person they can be. So it was a great conference. Thank you.
I talked about 15 minutes about Orangeburg Consolidated School District 5 and some of the things that we have implemented and is working. And believe you me, folks was intrigued to the point of getting a card and having phone calls of things that we do from a foundation standpoint down to broadband. And it was just amazing. But my focus this year was on CTEs and CATE, and that detour that our children need to take when they're not going to college. And I got into a session and yes, I sent presentations to Dr. Washington and others of what I learned. And in this one particular session, we were talking about apprenticeship and how it can lead to middle skill jobs. High skill jobs is only about 32%. But middle skill jobs is right at 56%, and low skill jobs are right around 12-15%. Now, apprenticeship fills that gap, and it talks exactly about our technology center. It talks about electricians, the highest paid middle skill job in America is an electrician. And those individuals are making nationally around $68,010. And you make that shortly after you have gone to the OC Texas world in combination with the technology centers that we have on our campuses. And that's followed by the electrical power line installers and repairs. That's the highest. That's the 68,000. Then you have the electricians who are making $52,720, followed by plumbers, pipe fitters, and steam fitters. And again, you don't have to go to a 4-year college to acquire these skills to fulfill these jobs. These figures were there to show students that it isn't necessary to go to a 4-year college. The 2-year technical degree, along with some apprenticeship, you wouldn't have to worry about the debt, because there will be no debt. And particularly in South Carolina now, where we have the Palmetto Promise, and all of us know what that Palmetto Promise is. Any student who graduate from every school in this county can attend a technical school, and you basically, your fee will be paid. So, and this retroact back to 2012, 2013. So we need to make sure that our students are aware of this, and they are in our communities as well, and utilizing this. I shared this with Dr. Washington and some county board members, and it was a session, why should a new superintendent choose your district? And it went deep. And what was on the agenda, what important for your board to know, what specific board attributes matter most to candidates, what can your board do now to better prepare, building your board profile and image now that you have found each other staying on the same page. And we got on that, and we stayed on that for a while. And I'm just going to say this and I'll move on. Board professionalism, ability to openly and honestly discuss issues, disagree amicably, and once a decision is made, support the board's decision. Alignment with the board vision and goals for the district. Disciplined enough to remain focused on district core mission regardless of shifting winds. Board commitments to growth. Understanding of the fluid division of labor requires monitoring and discussion. Willingness to establish norms and ground rules for their ongoing relationship. Ability to handle conflict. Yes, I share this with the county board members.
What I wanted to say was, in saying that was, I know that lately we've been talking about a lot of security and safety, and we've been having Mr. Rivers give us an update every month, but I hope that we understand how important this is, and that we need to really continue to be proactive even after June the 30th. I hope the new consolidated district will understand how important it is to have this safety and security issue up front and really close and personal, and that we need to be aware that at any moment anything could happen, and if we aren't prepared, what happened at Sandy Hook, a number of other schools that we've known about lately, could happen within our county. And so we really need to support our safety and security initiatives, and we need to make sure that we have done everything that we possibly can to ensure the safety of our children and our staff each and every day when they come into our facilities. And so I just wanted to give that shout out about, don't let the safety and security issue fall to the side at any time. Keep it forefront and before us, because once we don't, it'll be too late when we try to catch up. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Finance and Operations, Mr. Boland.
On page 1 of that report, you see under the local revenue, we received $11,538,381. This put us $1.2 million over what we budgeted. And I'm not sure that the classification is correct in the county treasurer's office, so we're not going to make any budget adjustments at this time. Because you can see in the second group of categories, we didn't receive any money for fee in lieu of, and the 25 and 5 mil. But $11,577,000 is pretty much what we expect in February, since taxes are due on January 31st. In the middle of the page on the interest income, you can see we reported $21,698. This puts us $34,000 over our budget. On page 2 of the Education Finance Act, we reported $1,265,661 for the month. We're pretty much on target there. So for the total month of February, we reported in revenues $14,389,546. Expenditures on page 11 for the month were $5,683,986. $623,524. And I think all the expenditures are pretty much as we anticipate this time of the year.
Okay.
And you may recall, we increased our budget earlier in the year, $361,000 to beef up security function.
We are at $45 million in revenue. I'm just going back to page number 2, which is good, right?
That's good.
Yeah. I just need that.
That means about 36% of the collective of our budget.
Yes, sir. Which is extremely good.
Next item I have is to actually increase the general fund budget. There's 2 items that we'd like to bring to your attention. One has to do with contracted services for the learning disability program. We had a teacher that resigned, and we had to get a contract company to come in to provide those services. So the salary didn't quite cover the expense of the contract. So we need to increase the purchase services account $6,740. The other has to do with equipment at Brookdale Elementary School. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's an upgrade to the sound system.
Audio equipment, yes.
And that's $61,289. So our recommendation is that we increase the general fund budget by those 2 amounts so that we can begin with those projects.
Ms. Gordon, Dr. Washington, we also need to include that $150,600 as well.
I think we took care of that in the form of a motion.
Okay.
The original $500,000, we didn't increase our general fund budget. What we did, we just set up a sub-fund in the 800 category. So what we'll do is we'll add that $150,600 to that sub-fund, and then at the end of the year, we'll just transfer from our budget over to that sub-fund, whatever amount of money they end up using.
So at this time, Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask that we approve the recommendation from Mr. Boland concerning accounts 127 for $6,740 and account number 254 for $61,289 to put that money, transfer that amount of money into the general fund budget.
Second.
Moving properly second that we fund account 127, additional $6,740, account 254, $61,289 to increase the fund budget in those 2 amounts. All in favor of such motion, let me see by raising the right hand. All opposes, nay. It is ordered. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Bowles.
Thank you.
Mr. Roger Zimmerman, Human Resources update.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
members of the board, Dr. Washington, ladies and gentlemen, the HR department has no update at this time. Yes, sir.
Tell us about your success as well as the recruitment fair that you had, what, a couple?
All 3 districts.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Okay. The recruitment fair that we've been attending, again, we are going to always try to make sure that we are recruiting the best for our district. And we were able to, in some situations, Mr. Grant went to some and I went to some, so we were able to bring some people into the district. We also collected a lot of information in terms of resumes and making those contacts for individuals that were graduating in May. Now, in some places, there were people who were graduating in December or even sometime next May. But just making that connection to tell them about Orangeburg can really, really help us with our recruiting. So our success has been that we have been talking to individuals, and in some cases, we have been able to bring individuals to our district. In terms of our career fair that we had, recruitment fair, we were very successful there. It was all 3 districts recruiting, and we were able to, again, bring in some candidates to our school district.
Thank you, sir, and continue to work.
Yes, thank you.
Instructional services update, Dr. Cynthia Cash Green.
So this evening, on behalf of the Office of Instructional Services and the entire staff of Orangeburg Consolidated School District 5, I'd like to present to you an update regarding the work that we've done on the final year of the five-year strategic plan for our district. The plans are mandated by the State Department. And additionally, an annual review is required each year to examine, or self-examine, basically, the progress that we've made. Friday, April the 5th, there were approximately 68 internal and external stakeholders who gathered for this purpose. While the strategic plan for our district will cease June 30th, 2019, overall there's been improvement across the district as measured by the state. However, there were targeted performance goals that we established for ourselves that we may not have met. But this was actually the focus for this particular work session. Normally, groups, organizations, and individuals are a little harder on themselves than others are, and so we basically set some lofty goals in terms of our performance goals because we knew where we want to be in 5 years. So some of those we may have fallen a little short. I want you to refer to the first document, District Strategic Plan Meeting. There was an overview of the plan provided to the entire group, and each subgroup then met to review the progress of the district and then reach consensus based on the data that was reported. And at the end of each of those subcommittees, there was a report made to the entire group. There were opportunities for questions and responses and or comments, and then we reached consensus at the end of those sessions as well. The overall group reached consensus after a spirited report on the district's mission, the vision, and belief statements by the Reverend Todd Brown.
Any questions for Dr. Cash? Dr. Cash Green and her team, and for those who participated last Friday morning, it was truly a good session. We saw where we are, and we also saw where we need to be, and we are not going to stop. We still have an obligation to our children. That obligation goes beyond June the 30th. That obligation goes till they are out of school. And what we did on last Friday showed our continued commitment and dedication to the education or the mission and vision of Orangeburg Consolidated School District Number 5. I'm hearing that, as Dr. Cash Green mentioned, it is an action item. This report is to be in the State Department by the end of this month.
That's correct, sir.
So we need a motion from this board, this body, for acceptance of this report.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask at this time that we approve the district strategic plan, for which is from 2017 through 2022, to be submitted on or before April the 30th, 2019.
Second.
And moving properly second, that all that was Glee mentioned in that motion, all in favor by raising the right hand, all opposed, thank you. Dr. Cash Green, Ms. I could not remember what all you said.
The strategic
but it
plan.
sounds good.
Planning for elementary school summer program. It's a summer enrichment opportunities. You have that particular document for your information. You also have planning for high and middle school summer programs. And then you also have in your possession summer professional learning opportunities for staff for the month of June.
The children who wins locally, they have an opportunity to go another step, right, to a state and national.
I'm going to ask Ms. Jameson if she will respond. She was working on this particular item.
This is just our district Math Fest. It's not, these students are not going anywhere. We did have some students from Clark who did participate in the Math Fest that they went on to compete. I think in Philadelphia they went recently. But this is just for us, just our district, to have a competition among our students.
Okay.
This was also an opportunity for our students to get a little polished, and I heard that we're doing okay in math prior to assessment as well. Was this after?
This is before.
This is before assessment, that's correct, so.
Saturday, actually before.
So what can we do with that? You know, for example, if Dover win, could we make some kind of correlation between the winners and how well they do at this math fest?
Well, our goal with the Math Fest truly was to, children are so involved in preparing for the test. We wanted to make it kind of exciting and make it a competition because we know children enjoy competing. And so it really was a way to have our children to almost prepare for the test, but in a different manner. And so that was the goal of this project right here. As well, we're hoping that what's going to happen is because we did have this competition, our students will do better on the South Carolina Ready Assessment. That is our goal. We knew some of our students were struggling with those foundational skills that people mentioned. And so we're going to do a lot of that, knowing your math facts, knowing your multiplication facts, because we know that if you know those, you can do the other math skills if you know those.
Now back to you, Dr. Cash Green, and the summer enrichment opportunity for our students. And those projects that goes beyond July 1st. Have there been communication with the county board that this is happening? Or will be happening?
Actually, all invitations are going countywide. However, we've monitored this very closely. The only things that would extend past June 30th would be your high school, Mohawk, which is special revenue dollars, and what was the other one?
Summer reading camp ends July 1st, but we have discussed that with the other districts.
So we were very cautious in extending anything past, particularly because of budgetary reasons. But all opportunities here, they have been invited, or invitations have been extended to the other districts as well.
Now, the summer camp with Orangeburg Parks and Recreation, that's a combination of fun and learning?
Well, that truly is not, they're just using our sites. We really have nothing else to do. We are allowing them to use our schools.
Right, I do want to, I know that regional literacy has been a really big issue. I do want to bring attention to the fact that the PLOs, or the professional learning opportunities for staff, because in order to impact students, you have to impact staff capacity to deliver. And so those really are centered around literacy. There's a Literacy Institute, and then of course, as you can see, the technology piece. But we're going to really focus on teachers' ability to provide rich content and literacy. And then one of the other things we talked about was interpretation of standards as well. That is not on here, but we talked about that as a part of our meeting as well.
Teachers Academy. How we doing?
Actually, if you look at next to the opportunities for students, you see it says Educators Academy. So it is a part of, and those invitations have also been extended to the county as well.
The overall goal, could you just briefly explain to the board, what's going to be the overall goal of this particular initiative?
All of this is a part of the Educators Academy. Any training that we provide for teachers or any staff members is actually handled through, and this is really just a building, but so it can be located in other sites, but it's a part of that whole professional learning opportunities for teachers or staff members.
Of course, I know consolidation is going to take effect July 1, 2019, because we're all aware of that. But, you know, we're going to maintain a huge majority of our current teachers. I mean, I would think so.
Yes, sir.
And I just want to make sure that they'll be ready come that first day in August.
Well, we're hoping that they will be. It has to be ongoing. And so we've had some deep discussions today. We're going to compile some recommendations based on our observations that we've seen, because we don't want the ball to drop. So we discussed this today as a part of our department. that we'll be making recommendations moving forward of things that we've seen and things that we believe that should continue. And
the only reason I'm concerned is because I know in our school district, in District 5, the week before the kids come back to school, you always have something going on.
Yes, sir.
And so where currently it's 3 different school districts, well, come July 1, it's going to be 1. And I just want to make sure, my concern is to make sure that
and I'm pointing at Ms. Jameson because I wanted her to give, she actually has attended a meeting, and I believe there are some extensive plans for July.
I attended the instructional services meeting with the 2 other districts, and that was a concern, and so they are in the process of thinking of exactly what kind of training will be happening for the teachers when we come back to school. So that is on the table already.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Cashman.
Any other questions for Dr. Cashman? Any questions for Dr. Washington? Any comment, board members? Yes, sir, Mr. P.
I just want to comment that I've always been impressed with that little group, and it talks about what I talk about all the time, relationships. I think they got it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Page, for those words of encouragement. Ladies and gentlemen, if there be no other action, thank you.
Thank you.